All right, hi Daniela.
Hi.
Nice to sit down with you. So just for context, we're in El Salvador. We've been spending a little bit more than a week.
I think, yeah, almost 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah, it's almost gonna be 2 weeks. Getting to know each other and being at Cubo Plus. We thought it was a good opportunity for our audience to get to know a little bit about who you are and everything that you do around the Bitcoin space, because I got to learn a lot about just Bitcoin in general, but about you as well, because I was a follower. I met you, I think, the first time in Azores
Yeah, I think
last
so.
year.
Yeah.
And well, it's been really interesting to hear everything that you do. So maybe we can start with you telling us a little bit about yourself. Maybe what's your Bitcoin story and how you entered the space.
Okay, sure, of course. So, hi everyone. Again, I'm Daniela. I'm a developer. So, I've been working on Bitcoin since 2019, even though I discovered Bitcoin in 2017. So, I don't really have a great how did you discover Bitcoin kind of story, but it's just a friend of mine was really interested in Bitcoin, and he just started to talk to me about it like all day long, and so I just kind of got interested into it, more into the technical side of things, because I've studied computer science, and so I've always been really interested in the technical side of how Bitcoin works. And so I read Mastering Bitcoin, and I was like, wow, this is fascinating. Obviously, if you've read Mastering Bitcoin, you know the first time it's a lot to take in. So it really took some time before I was able to reason about the complex parts of Bitcoin. But still, the first time I was like, oh, wow, this is really nice. I want to know more. But I was still in school, so I had a lot to do. So from about 2017 to 2019, I was just studying in school and not really following much. I had a Twitter account, but I would never use it. Every time I would open Twitter, it wouldn't make any sense. People discussing, me not knowing anything. So yeah, eventually I finished high school, and at that point I wasn't sure whether I should have gone to university or should have found myself a job. So I asked that friend introduced me to Bitcoin. It was like, you know, I'm working in Blockstream. I know you're a good dev, so if you want to be an intern in Blockstream, I can ask. And I was like, okay, let's try. So I did a 6 months internship in Blockstream in 2019, and from there I was like, okay, I really like working. I kind of liked school, but not that much. So I was like, okay, let's just not go to college at all. Let's just try to work in the space. And yeah, ever since I've been working on Bitcoin, I've been working in many different companies. I think, well, I've been in Blockstream, then Brains, and Wizard Sardine, and now I'm a Spiral grantee. So it's like 4 different employers in 4 years. So yeah, that's my Bitcoin story. And right now I'm working on BDK, BitcoinDevKit project, supported by Spiral, as I just said.
Such an inspiring story, I gotta say. You started at a young age, dove right into the big pond, and now you got to be pretty known in the space, and there are a lot of like really interesting things that you're working on. So you mentioned one of them, it's BDK.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of the people in the audience probably don't know what it is. So maybe in simple terms, could you explain what it is and how you're involved with it?
Okay, so the idea is that building Bitcoin wallets is not really easy, because there's a lot of stuff that every time you want to build a wallet, you need to just recode yourself, such as you have to have some kind of blockchain source, and from that you have to discover, you know, given your private key, you have to discover your addresses, and then you have to look for your addresses in the blockchain to figure out what's your balance, etc. That's a lot of code to write. So in 2020, Alekos started the project, and it was like, okay, let's just write a common library that everyone who wants to build wallets can use. And then we realized it's not really just wallets, it's also protocols on top of Bitcoin. So yeah, BDK was born in 2020 with that idea in mind. Just let's abstract all the difficult stuff. So if you want to build your own wallet, you just have to use the library, and you don't have to think too much about all the details. All the details are just handled in the library, and as a user, you can know a little bit less about Bitcoin.
Okay.
So that's the idea around it. There's also another project called LDK, Lightning Dev Kit, which aims to do the same thing as BDK. So yeah, those two projects are kind of
for the Lightning Network.
For Lightning, sorry,
yeah.
And they're kind of siblings in a sense. Yeah, right now I've been working on BDK for 1 whole year as a full-time grantee, but I've started contributing even before. I think I did some smaller contributions in 2020, and then I started contributing in start of 2022, if I remember correctly, and I got the grant in June 2022, so it's been exactly a year. And right now I'm a maintainer of the library, which means that I have to work on features, etc. But also I need to review other people's code and do all the maintainer kind of stuff, just reviewing PRs, deciding, okay, should we merge this, should we wait, when do we release, etc. So that's pretty much what I do.
So if I understand well, BDK is kind of like the foundation that can be used by other software in order to do Bitcoin things.
Exactly, yes, yes.
So do you have an example of something that uses it right now?
Okay, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Let me think. Oh, well, there's Mutiny Wallet, which was announced like 2 hours ago or something.
I actually just received the invite for the beta, so yeah, it's pretty recent.
So yeah, that's one example. They use BDK for the whole on-chain part of the wallet, and they use LDK for the Lightning part. I think Foundation Devices is using BDK for the Android app, and then I'm sure there are other projects using BDK, but I'm not really on the customer side of things, so I kind of not know who uses it. I mean, every now and then someone tells me, hey, there's this thing that we should improve, etc. But I'm not really talking to users full day. So yeah, I don't really have a great answer.
No, but I think it's a great explanation. Like, I think it really explains pretty easily what BDK is and what it does, and it makes a lot of sense. So no, super nice. And earlier you mentioned that you worked for Brains. Was it related to Stratum V2 at all, or was it something totally different? Because I know you've written a few things on Stratum V2, so I don't know, can you elaborate on this?
I've done a little bit of everything. So I've worked, I think I did a little PR on Stratum V2, and then I also studied the protocol by myself because I was invited to Bitcoin Devs LA to give a talk, and that was my first talk. And I was like, okay, I have no clue what to talk about, and I'll be like, okay, let's just explain Stratum V2. That's a fun thing to explain. And I did a small PR on it. I don't remember exactly when or what it is, but I know that after some time they found a pretty big security bug in it. So I was like, okay, oops. Well, that happens. I mean, obviously I'm not happy that I accidentally broke Stratum V2 for a second, but they found the bug way before it was released, so that's fine. And yeah, in Brains I also worked on Brains OS a little bit, and on the firmware that goes on the miner, and yeah, then some other stuff which was internal, and yeah, I can't really talk much about it.
Yeah, you can't really?
No, because NDAs and stuff.
No worries, no worries. So I'm not gonna push further on those questions. No problem. And also another thing that you've worked with the students is you talk to them a lot about Rust.
Yes.
So it's a programming language. Could you tell us more about it?
So it's a weird programming language. It's a tough one to learn. So the idea behind Rust is to have a programming language that is fast and efficient and kind of low level, kind of like C and C++, but with a lot of protection when it comes to handling memory. So you don't have all the memory related bugs that you might have in C and C++. And also it's about type safety as well. So yeah, the idea is just to have this programming language that kind of that really helps the dev to avoid the common mistakes and the common bugs. But it's a really weird one. It's a really tough one to learn. It took me at least some months before I felt somewhat confident in using it. And still right now I've been using it for 3 years, and there are still some parts of the language that kind of makes sense but kind of doesn't. So it's a tough one, but I'd say a really fun one to learn, because it teaches you a lot about how computers work in general. So yeah, and BDK is written in Rust. So the idea is, since we consider Rust to be this really cool programming language that makes you write safe stuff, we write the core BDK library in Rust. But then we know that most people don't speak Rust. So if you do, cool, you can use BDK in Rust. If you don't, we have bindings in Python, in Java, in Swift, in Kotlin, so that you can still use the Rust code, but with a API in the language, let's say. So from Kotlin, you can just call some functions, and behind the scenes, the Rust code is called, but you don't know about it. You just write Kotlin.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, a lot of things, and it's actually really impressive to see all the things you're involved with. It's a lot. So you must have busy days, I'd say. So also you've mentioned when we were together over the week. With the Lekos, you founded what is the hackerspace in Italy? Is that right, or am I maybe?
Yeah, no, that's the right name. We call it HackBS.
All right.
So yeah, the idea is to have this space for people who are kind of like us, like hackers, to just come and hang out, basically, and just stay there and build stuff. We want it to be a place where we want to have a nice community, and we're building it just a bit slowly, because that's how those things work. Of people just, well, first of all, cypherpunks, and cypherpunks interested in technology and just willing to go there to just build stuff. We have various projects that we're starting. They're all kind of little right now. They're all about managing the place, because we have a physical space. It's in Italy. It's in this city called Brescia, which is in the north, and in the physical space we just have a lot to do, because we have like a small bar inside, and so we want like a software for when people buy drinks, they can just use the software and pay in Lightning, or we sell t-shirts, so we also want some kind of software to handle that. So yeah, we're doing it slowly. We're building different projects, and yeah, we're hoping to just create a community to just, because I think there's a lot of education to be made in Bitcoin, specifically on the technical side, because there aren't really many devs, especially in Italy. So yeah, we just hope to have this place where people can just come and learn about various stuff, including Bitcoin.
Yeah, cool. When has it started?
So we opened on the 13th of May. But
so it's recent.
Yeah, but I mean, we started working on it like months before, because we had to rent the place and just, I don't know, move the desk inside, etc. But yeah.
So it's not Bitcoin only. But a lot of things are like naturally happening around Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not Bitcoin only, but it's no shitcoin.
Yeah,
because when you say Bitcoin only, some people think, oh, Ethereum. Nope. But yeah, no, it's not Bitcoin only in the sense that people just go there and play with CNCs and 3D printers.
Like more in the computer science realm, and cypherpunks and all of that.
Yeah, there aren't really many Bitcoiners in our city, because it's a kind of a small one. But we hope we'll be able to educate some of the people that come and just let them fall in love with Bitcoin.
Cool. And how would you describe the Italian scene when it comes to Bitcoin? Are there a lot of things going on in the country? I know there was a Tuscany summit at some point. So how's Bitcoin doing in Italy?
So there are many people interested in Bitcoin, really a lot. So we've been having the Tuscany conference, that was so cool, but also there are some meetups happening weekly or monthly, depends, but like all over Italy. There's this thing called Satoshi Spritz, and the idea is just we drink a spritz talking about Bitcoin, right? And if you go like on the website, there's in so many cities, it's so cool, but there aren't many technical people interested in Bitcoin. But I mean, it's a good starting point to just have a lot of people just loving the idea of Bitcoin, and then we hope we'll be able to educate more and more. Because if you think about the devs in Italy, the Bitcoin devs, there aren't many known names really. I mean, there are some, of course, but not as many as you'd expect, considering the pleb population, let's say. So a lot of things going on, just not really technical. But
Okay, super. As I mentioned earlier, we're at Cubo Plus. It's been almost 2 weeks. You've been a teacher here. Right now we're in El Zonte. We used to be in San Salvador. What has been your experience so far with Cubo? What do you think of the initiative? What did you expect when you came here? What is your overall idea of this program that we've been seeing?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the whole program. All the lessons were like really at advanced level. So I was following the lessons and I was like, whoa, these students are, I mean, really good for being able to follow how to install joint market, and Peter talking about government in Bitcoin, because I don't know how long it's been since they just started knowing about Bitcoin, but it's not been that long. So really good lessons, really a lot of experts, a lot of advanced stuff going on. I'm really having fun, honestly, both teaching, because I really like it. It's just so cool being able to share what I know, and I usually just, I don't know, start talking about things that interest in me, and I realize the students kind of like listening to me, I guess. So that's so fun. And also, there's been a lot of hanging out with people and socializing. I'm kind of tired at this point because it's been like 11 or 12 full days, but still, it's been really nice. I didn't know what I expected. I mean, when I was like, okay, I'm about to leave, I thought, oh my gosh, the weather is going to suck. It's going to be so humid, and I was right. It is.
It is hot.
I'm not sure exactly what I expected, but still, I'm really having fun. I'm really liking it.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd agree. It's been for me quite impressive to see those students getting so much knowledge put onto them in such a short span of time. Because for most of us, it took us years to go through Bitcoin, understand it. That's a little bit of what you shared with your story. For them, it's been much shorter, and I think it's one of a kind of experience where we're challenging them of getting, I guess, the best knowledge from the best teachers in a few months. And what do you think of the students? How have you seen them progress over the past 2 weeks since you got to meet them?
Okay, I'm not great. Like, I'm not a great teacher in that sense. Like, I'm not sure if I saw progress. I'm like, it seems that they understand, but I don't really know. I'd say if I were in their shoes, I would be super overwhelmed. Because in my life, I did like a couple of courses as a student, like maybe in maths and computer science, which were as intense. And at the end, you feel like, oh my gosh, and then you come back home and you have to revisit all the material because it's been maybe 3 days and they've told you everything about everything, really. So I feel like probably they're going to, if they do revisit all the material they've seen in these days, they're going to be really, really good at Bitcoin soon. But right now, I feel like, they might be a bit confused / overwhelmed, but that's really, that's so normal because, as you said, it's so much stuff in such a shorter amount of time. But then I'm not really good at judging students. That's not really So, for example, right now they're doing a hackathon, and I'll be a judge in a couple of days. And I was chatting with the other judges, and we were like, okay, how are we going to judge this? I don't know. Yeah, we'll see, I guess.
I guess the teachers here have learned as much as the students on some parts, like because maybe you didn't know exactly how to share your knowledge before coming here, and you had to put yourself through the exercise of formalizing your ideas and everything you could share about everything that you've learned. It's so yeah, I understand that it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge for everyone.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's a big part of teaching, just like relearning what you're teaching, because and also sometimes when you're an expert, you don't exactly remember the struggles you had as a beginner, and so you have to kind of relearn them again. So yeah, it's been. I mean, I'm learning a lot. Yeah, definitely about just how to share knowledge, as you said.
Nice. So, what is it? Your first time in El Salvador?
Yes. Yeah.
So, what do you think so far?
The weather. I'm sorry. Like, I know I shouldn't complain too much, but I really don't like the humid weather.
Yeah.
But I mean, the environment. Just when I look out of the window, it's so beautiful. It's just if I go outside, I melt. But while I'm inside with the AC on, I'm just like, it's so beautiful. But yeah, it's not really my type of place, because again, the weather, it's.
And you come from Italy, so what could be better?
I mean, the weather in Italy also sucks.
Actually, right now it's quite hot in Europe. I've been hearing stories from my friends over there, and it's actually quite rough for them as well.
Yeah, I can't really complain that much, because in the end, if I were in Italy, it would be kind of the same level of humidity, maybe a bit hotter, but I wouldn't have the sea and the pool and just a lot of people to hang out with. So it's been really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the spring and the autumn in Italy, because it's just, you go outside with your jumper and there's a bit of sun, but it's not too much, and you kind of get of a tan, but not really, because it's just a bit of sun. So yeah, that's more of my type of place, let's say.
So what's your take on adoption? Because I guess it's a question on the mind of a lot of people who haven't been here. It's the first country that made Bitcoin legal tender. It comes with its challenges, of course. I think everyone has to be realistic about being the first in doing so. So, what has been your observations so far? Have you seen any? I don't know if you can call it limits, but challenges maybe in adoption, even if it's technical challenges that, of course, we have people like you who may be able to create the solutions to overcome them. So what's your feeling around that topic of adoption?
So I'm a bit ashamed of myself, because I still haven't paid anything using Bitcoin, and the reason for that is I don't speak Spanish, and so I'm kind of scared that we'll have to go there and say Bitcoin and try to make them understand that I want to pay in Bitcoin, and they show me an on-chain address, and at that point I have to, oh no, I want to use Lightning. Oh no, then if you don't have Lightning, credit card. So yeah, at this point I'm just using my credit card because it's easier. But yeah, I'm a bit ashamed. On adoption, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see Bitcoin just growing from the bottom up, let's say, just people starting to adopting it because they like it, and eventually everyone uses it. But that's maybe a bit unrealistic, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's cool that here it's legal tender, but still people are not forced to use it. So everyone can just decide, okay, I want to use it, no, I don't want to. But I was chatting with some friends, and they were telling me, oh yeah, there's some people here that don't like Bitcoin, but not because there are some technical or economical reasons. It's just the president says Bitcoin is good, they're against the president, they say Bitcoin is bad. So that's a bit sad, but I don't really know how it's going to play out, let's say. Technical challenges, I'm sure there are many. Again, still haven't tried Bitcoin here, but I've heard story of just Chivo wallet not working, Chivo wallet not seeing a transaction on chain, even though it has 2 confirmations. So yeah, I'd say it would be better if everyone used some popular open source wallet and not Chivo or something. And of course, if you're using Lightning, it's not perfect yet, and there are a lot of problems with liquidity, with just, oh, I want to pay. Oh no, I don't have enough liquidity. Okay, I have to open a new channel. Stuff like, oh, I mean, I need someone to open a channel to me, stuff like that. There are challenges, definitely. I'm excited though, because I realize there's a lot going on in the space, just on how to improve. There's people working on ARC, which might help, it might not help. I don't know much about it, but state chains, maybe they might help, maybe not, I don't know really. There's federation stuff, there's FADIMIN, there's a lot of stuff going on, and so I'm pretty sure that we're going to be able to solve all the various problems. But yeah, at the same time, I realized that someone that got into, like a merchant that tries to accept Bitcoin today might think, oh my gosh, Bitcoin sucks, it's so broken. And maybe all those technical issues will be fixed in, I don't know, 5 years or something. So yeah, kind of sad for all the merchants that will have a bad idea of Bitcoin in mind for a couple of years. Or I mean, I don't know, it depends how much they try it. But yeah, there are definitely some issues that we need to solve. But I'm positive. There's a lot of smart people just thinking about the future of Bitcoin.
So. And you're, well, I guess here we're just seeing the people who might find a solution and get the knowledge necessary to build the solutions themselves. One of the feeling that I had when I came here is that overall our mission is to share enough knowledge to them so they can think for themselves about their own solution, because they're the best place to know what the country needs because they're from here. And yeah, it's like for me, I've seen many things that you question if that's the best approach. Like should we use QR codes? Do they work? What do you do when your screen is broken? Even with the students, I've seen, and it's something that I've experienced many times when I've tried to orange pill people or just to get them to download the wallet, just to try it out, is space on the phone. Something some of us, it's not an issue for some of us, but you see that in certain part of the world, just downloading an app is actually something that's can be quite difficult, and those are all barriers to adoption because if the person has that kind of roadblock, then they're like, oh well, this thing is too complicated, so I'm just gonna give up and use the good old cash. But you've mentioned it here. It's pretty natural because people are not forced to use it, and you can see that people are not forced because we're here at Bitcoin Beach, and there are places that don't accept Bitcoin, even though you could expect every place to accept Bitcoin. So, which speaks for the fact that people are not forced to do it. But there are a few places that do. I hope it brings them a little bit of business when they do. And well, it's always a fun experience to chat with people. So, but yeah, I understand your struggle with Spanish because I don't speak Spanish myself. So every time you get to, the other day I had to pay in a commerce that was using Chivo, and since there are 3 different kinds of QR code, and the girl was getting trained by her manager, and the Chivo wallet was disconnected, so she had to get the password and login. And then she showed me one QR code, and I said, no, it's not this one. And then she showed me an on-chain QR code, and I said, no, it's not this one either. And she showed me a Lightning, and I was like, this is not the most convincing ease of use, but you know, it's you got to start somewhere. El Salvador took a leap of faith, and is trying to teach the great minds of El Salvador to be able to just build those solutions themselves. So we'll see in the future. We'll meet again, maybe here, and we'll see how that advanced. Do you have, since you have this background, do you have any advice for new Bitcoiners or devs entering the space? If there is someone who would want to learn about Bitcoin but also contribute, where should they start? Do you have any advice for the people that look at us and be inspired by your story?
Of course. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just be curious and follow your curiosity, and just try to study stuff, just following what you like, because that's the best way to learn about stuff, and also to just be motivated. Let's say at first it's really tough, and you can't expect it to be easy, but yeah, more about contributing. There are a lot of projects that are just accepting new contributors. You should just be humble and nice and just be like, hey, you know, I'm totally new to Bitcoin, but I knew Python and I wanted to help. Is there something I could work on? Don't be pressing, then just be nice and be like, hey, do you have any advice? Do you have something, some little issue? A lot of projects on GitHub, they do tag the good first issues, which is just stuff which is, I mean, maybe one day I'm looking at the code and I'm like, oh, this thing is really easy to solve. It's maybe one line change, 2 lines change. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to let someone who's a beginner do it, because they might learn something along the way. And so I open a good first issue and yeah, just let it there on the project, waiting for someone. So definitely look for good first issues if you just want to contribute to some project. There's a lot of easy stuff. And yeah, in general, it's not easy, really. If you can get a job as a dev, that's the quickest way of going from almost zero to being an expert. Because if you get hired as an intern or as a junior dev, you'll have someone mentoring you, and that's just so helpful. Yeah. But I realized that might not really be the case for everyone, at least for a while, because you need to start somewhere. You need to start contributing and having a kind of curriculum. So yeah, at first just find some project that interests you, maybe some app that you really like that you want to help improve, even just fix a string if you find a typo or something like that. And yeah, just start somewhere and just explore around. There's no really a set way, let's say. I can't tell you this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. That's just how it is. Yeah. But still, I'd say just curiosing around, you'll find something cool. Cool.
A book you would recommend?
I really like Mastering Bitcoin. I think it's the only one I read which explores the basics. I mean, there are other books, but I haven't read them. So yeah, I really like Mastering Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that's the only one. Yeah.
A really cool project you want to see more. You're excited to see more happening besides the one you work on, obviously. Is there anything on your radar in the Bitcoin space?
So I'm excited to try Mutiny Wallet, because I've spoken with the devs and I heard many cool words such as Lightning, CoinJoin, all that stuff, but then I don't really know what's that about. I'm excited about ARC, even though I still haven't understood exactly how it works. But yeah, I'm also excited to see more people just posting their explanations of what ARC is. I think right now there's just a 2 hours long video and some write-up, some kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. I'm excited for any Prevout. I really want to see any Prevout, because I think they're working on it on the Bitcoin Inquisition fork, which is a fork of Bitcoin Core, which has some opcodes enabled, some soft fork enabled, so that people can try it out. And I think any Prevout is enabled on the Bitcoin Inquisition fork, and so people are just trying it, testing it, trying to make all the various Lightning implementation work on it. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't have any other thing in my mind right now.
Okay, cool. A question that I ask a lot of Bitcoiners, you got to give an advice for someone who needs a Lightning wallet. What's your Lightning wallet of choice for someone?
I really like Phoenix, and
Yeah.
they just announced this splicing
Yeah.
thing, which is so cool. I think it's still in beta, but still, I really like Phoenix. So I think it's the only one I have
Yeah.
right now. So
I think it's there are a lot of us thinking the same. We've been talking to the students a lot about Phoenix. I think everyone is are like a fan of the wallet and just how great it works. Do you know a little bit more about that splicing? Yeah.
So
Do you feel comfortable maybe explaining just a few things?
I'll try,
Yeah.
and then let's see how it goes. So basically, every time you open a Lightning channel, you have to do a transaction on chain. So you want to open a channel, let's say between the two of us, and I put in 10 Bitcoin and you put 0. We have to do a transaction on chain. But then, and I want to send you 11 Bitcoin. What do? Do we close the channel and then open it again with 11 Bitcoin on my side? That's 2 more transactions, right?
Yeah.
Because you need 1 transaction for closing and 1 for opening the channel again.
So there is a cost, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what's splicing? Basically, splicing is you do just 1 transaction, adding 1 Bitcoin in this case, but whatever amount, okay, it just depends, to the channel. So in this case, we would have 1 transaction opening with 10, 0, and then 1 transaction adding 1 Bitcoin on my side.
Okay.
And now we have a channel which has a capacity of 11 Bitcoin. Then there's the opposite. I think it's called splice out, which is just for some reason I need the money now, but I don't want to close the channel because again, then if I want to pay you, I'll have to open it again, but I really need 5 Bitcoin. So what do? I create a transaction on chain, just taking out 5 Bitcoin from the channel, but the channel stays open. It's just 5 Bitcoin on my side, 0 on yours. So yeah, this is the concept. And so the idea behind Phoenix using splicing is when you want to send a payment but you don't have enough capacity, instead you do a transaction on chain, just enlarging the channel.
Yeah.
And so you end up, instead of having many different tiny channels, you end up with 1 big one.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm not sure if it's in all cases better, but as an end user it is, because you just have 1 channel. It's easier to back up. It's just way cooler.
Yeah, you can actually see it when I open my Phoenix wallet and I look. I have like a lot of channels opened, and so maybe that would make less of them for just the average user.
Yeah, exactly.
Because for people that are not maybe too familiar with Lightning and the way that it interacts with on-chain, I guess, if you correct me if I'm right, but we want to have as little on-chain transaction as possible, because it always has a cost, and Lightning is trying to reduce the cost, so you want as little opening and closing of channels. So splicing does that.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is if the two of us have a channel, we need 1 transaction on chain for opening, 1 for closing, but then we can transact as many times as we want, and we won't pay the fee on chain. So you open the channel, you do 1,000 transactions, then you close the channel. You did 1,000 movements of money, but you just, or maybe 1,002, depends. But you just have 2 on-chain transactions.
Yeah.
And so yeah, splicing just helps with reducing the footprint on chain.
I think this goes to show that there is a lot of innovation going around the Bitcoin space. It's actually quite cool to see. I think you're one of the actors that is kind of like just around all those things happening. So it's really exciting to see, and I think well, you gave us a good overview of a lot of things happening in the Bitcoin space, and I hope it just portrays how like interesting things there are in working with Bitcoin. I think that I hope that inspires people to follow suit maybe learning more and maybe working in that space. Do you have anything more you would want to tell the audience?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of smart people working in Bitcoin, but I'd say it's not enough because we have many big problems. Many of them we don't know yet. So yeah, we just need more excited people to just contribute and bring their ideas. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Daniela.
Thank you.
It was nice chatting with you, and I think we learned a lot. So yeah, good. We are gonna finish Cubo and spend still a few days in El Salvador and enjoy the rest of this hackathon and this initiative.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.